Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions. What was the company you started?
It was called American Business Systems. I wanted something with AV, so it got in back in those days, the yellow pages were a big deal, right?
Yeah.
You had to get in the yellow pages. I figured I took it from a friend of mine who had a company name like that in Washington State. And so I called it American Business Systems, ABS. And we started with like the technician, my good friend that was a sales rep, and myself. So we started with my two salesmen and a technician.
Yeah.
And this is where, through stupidity, I guess you could call it, when we started, because we didn't have any accounts.
Yeah.
You know, we were trying to find people that had copiers that we could service,
Right.
supply business, whatever we could do. And I said, well, we have Charlie and I to go out and find new equipment. Ronnie, you have to service the equipment we have, which wasn't much. But I said, you know, if we get an account, we're never going to lose it.
Yeah.
We're never going to lose the account. All right. It always used to irritate me when I sat on bank boards that the banks would offer $250 for any new customer, or Sports Illustrated, a magazine I used to get back then, would offer you a travel bag for any new subscription. And I go, why don't they give anything to the people that are loyal to them?
Right.
So it dawned on me. I said, well, we're going to have Ronnie go visit every account that we have. And if he has to visit them once a week, he goes to every account once a week. And he started visiting these accounts. And what that turned out, when we sold the company, whatever it was, 25 years later, we were doing 122 hours per week of courtesy calls, where the technician would go into the account, put paper in the machine, add toner to the hopper, clean off the glass. I mean, we over-serviced them. I cannot say that I ever remember losing an account. And we had a 40% market share in the state of Maine.
Wow.
We dominated the state. And it's all because we were going to spend more money on retaining a customer than going out and finding new ones. Yeah. And as a result, later on, I've learned all kinds of studies on it. But if you retain a customer, they're going to give you 10 times the value. The lifetime value of a customer is 10 times the initial purchase price. You have a 70% better chance of remarketing to those people items. You have a better chance of getting referrals. And through kind of dumb luck, having Ronnie just start visiting people because we didn't know what else to do with them, we created a dynasty in the state of Maine. And that's why we got bought out.
Okay, so I have a take on this. Is it okay if I give it to you?
Sure.
Okay. So I love this story. And let me tell you why I love this story. It's one of my favorites ever. And I'll tell you why. It's not out of stupidity. It's how you're built, Mr. Packard. It's how you're built. You reached out to me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Do you remember? You reached out to me on LinkedIn and we connected. Do you know how many people reach out? And Adam and I talked about this yesterday. Do you know how many people reach out to me on LinkedIn and I never call them and I never respond? Right? You reached out to me the correct way on LinkedIn with the right kind of spirit, the right kind of approach. It's how you're built. So this isn't stupidity. This is literally how you're made. Okay. And we have this conversation quite a bit. And part of the reason we do is the way that you go about building a solid business now. And this is true decades before, right? But the way you go about building a solid business, you look at anybody who succeeds at a very high level, they absolutely just love on their clients. They don't take their clients for granted. They love on their clients all the time, and they do it with their action, right? They don't talk a great game. They just show up. Okay. And what you're talking about is exactly what we're talking about on this podcast on a regular basis, because we're talking to people who, quite honestly, have succeeded at a very high level. We had John Rulin on the other day. Have you ever read Giftology?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we had John Rulin on, the author of that book. He worked.
Giftology.
What's that?
It's called Giftology, I believe.
Yeah. Giftology is the name of the book. Yeah. So we had him on the other day on the podcast. And one of the things that I love the most, and by the way, John's going to be a regular on our show. And the reason I know that is we are absolutely electric together, but we're all about loving on people. Okay. And the way I met John was in a thing called Pathfinders, which is for business people. It's a conference that's through my daughter's church. And we went to this and I sat there. Now, mind you, I've been in business a long time. I'm 57 years old. Okay. And John got up. I'm not easily impressed is what I'm getting at. John got up and completely blew me away. He was so impressive that I bought his audiobook. I'd never heard of it before. I bought his audiobook and I literally had it playing in my headset before I walked out of the church. Okay. So I got out to the truck and the truck picked up the book, right? And I was my daughter's ride. My daughter came out after greeting all of her friends and stuff. She jumped in the truck and she goes, "Hey, wait a minute. Isn't that John Rulin's voice? Weren't we just listening to him?" I said, "That's right, baby. We're listening to Giftology on the way home." And so I told John that story. And we were talking about what John did at the end of his presentation. He gave out two $2,000, listen to this, two $2,000 mugs to the pastor and his wife. And the thing that makes them $2,000 is they're made from scratch, and they literally have all around, there's 5 different sections on each one of these mugs, and it talks about them and their philosophy and their leadership style and what people have said about them, okay? Quotations about them, the whole thing. How special do you think that was for those 2 people? Now listen to this. Not only did they give them the mug, they did a video presentation on the big screen with the guy who invented the company, who literally did their mugs by hand. And he walked through each and every section. So there were 10 sections altogether, 5 per mug. They were both in tears by the time they gave him the mug. Okay?
Yeah.
Did it in front of everybody. That's what you do. You love on people, okay? And they don't forget it. People don't forget when you go above and beyond the call of duty.
Yeah, John Rulin, I believe, started as a Cutco rep.
He did. And he set a record for in 4 years, he set a record that has not been broken in over 100 years.
I'm friends with the president of Cutco.
Yeah.
He was president for 23 years. My friend's Mike Lancelota. And he told a story about Jeff Rulin. That's how I got to know him. That's how I bought the book.
Yeah.
And he does remarkable things. I mean, he's remarkable, some of the gifts that he gives to people and the meaning behind it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So he wanted to get in with the Orlando Magic.
Yes, I know that story. Yeah.
So he gets on their website and downloads their mission statement and has it etched into a plaque made out of wood, real wood, with the Orlando Magic logo on top. And they still have it to this day hanging in their headquarters. And it got him in, right? And they now do a ton of business with the Orlando Magic on a regular basis.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, he is a master.
Yeah,
he's a master.
Amazing.
Absolutely is. I'm looking forward to hearing him on your podcast.
Well, talking to him is a lot like talking to you, though. That's what I need you to know. You have that kind of talent, and it comes from your heart.
Oh, thank you.
And that's a big deal. Okay. It's a big deal, bigger than you can imagine. And that's why we do this podcast, because we want people like you that are literally inspirational and motivational to the people that are listening to this podcast. So you own that company for 25 years. You have massive market share, which you earned. Okay.
Yeah.
And what made you sell the company?
Well, it wasn't a bed of roses. At one time, we had a 34-to-1 debt to equity ratio.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we owed $34 for every dollar that we had, but we turned the company around. But the reason I sold the business was because there was a flood. Mm-hmm. And it was the worst flood in Maine history. It went right through our building, which was 30,000 square foot building.
Wow.
We had $1 million worth of inventory underwater.
Oh,
all right. I mean, we all came together as a team right after that. I mean, but it was when I realized that I can predict a lot of things. I can prevent a lot of things, but I can't prevent a natural disaster.
Right.
And that's what got me thinking about perhaps selling the company. Yeah. And I had a certain dollar amount that I had in mind that I was going to sell the company for. Mm-hmm. I hit it right on the nose when we sold the company. So
good for you. Good for you. So the day that you closed on the sale of the company, how did you feel?
It was interesting. I took 35 people to the Bahamas.
Oh, you did?
The day that we sold. Everybody was at the airport ready to leave, and I still had paperwork to sign that they were holding things up because some leasing problem. Yeah. And I didn't know if they were going to sign it or not. I mean, my wife was at the airport. Everybody was except for me. Yeah. And they finally signed it. We went to the Bahamas. We went to a resort in the Bahamas, and it was an all-inclusive resort. And I remember going up to the bar. I mean, it was an interesting story, but we went up to the bar, and this is a resort where you put your wallet in the safe, and you can everything's taken care of. Yeah. And I remember having a drink and going, okay, that part of my life is over. What's next?
Right.
You know, and it was the same feeling I had when Adam left to go to college. Yeah. He was my second son to go to college. And I remember the day he left, I'm thinking, I lost my golf partner. I lost my best friend. Yeah. And it was that same type of feeling. And so, but I stayed on for 5 years as a consultant. Yeah. Best job I ever had. I think the definition of a consultant is a guy between jobs. But they were renting my building. I wanted to make sure they kept renting at the price that we had set. So I stayed on it for 5 years, and then I moved on.
So when you moved on, where did you go?
Well, it's easy. I moved to Arizona.
Yeah. Why did you go to Arizona?
And, because I used to come out here to play golf.
Yeah.
And it was a goal of mine to sell the company and move to Arizona.
Okay.
So I knew where I wanted to be. I started, when I was running my company, I would buy greeting cards to send to my clients. Yeah. Like, thank you for your business. Mm-hmm. They didn't have a lot of different cards. You go to Staples, so it wasn't a lot. But, so I always remember that in the back of my mind. So when I came out here, I decided to start my own greeting card company.
Really?
Making greeting cards.
For businesses, I made them for businesses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I have a card here's a card that I created. Yeah. It says Babe Ruth struck out more times than he hit home runs. Yeah. Okay. When you open it up, you pull the little punchline out. And it says, although we didn't do business this time, we look forward to our next at bat.
I love it.
So I started creating greeting cards, because I couldn't find them when I was growing my business. Yeah. So I teamed up with a graphic artist, and I said, let's create greeting cards and for salespeople, and the other one was for pets. Yeah. So we decided here's one for pets. Says, don't worry about wrinkles. And you pull out a little punchline out of a little envelope inside. Yeah. Happy birthday. Okay. And so I made a sales call on PetSmart. Yeah. First sales call, right? Because they were located here in Phoenix. Yeah. And within 90 days, I was in 900 stores.
Oh my gosh.
Biggest account we ever had. And I was out trying to sell greeting cards to business people and salespeople. Yeah. To buy greeting cards, they'd buy a dozen of these, a dozen of these, a dozen of these, a dozen of these, and try to get them to send the cards out to people. Yeah. And that's what I started doing out here, selling greeting cards.
That is so cool. So you saw something as you were building your business in Maine, you saw something that was a need, and you just went to work filling it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
You know, I became a fan of a guy named Jay Abraham.
Yeah, I love Jay. Him? I love Jay.
I've got a great book here. It's called Getting All You Can Out of All You Got.
Yeah.
And he wrote a beautiful inscription to me. All right. And in his book, he says there's 3 ways to grow a business. You can increase customers. Mm-hmm. You can get the customers to buy more when they come in, mm-hmm. and you can get them to come back more often. Those are the only 3 ways to increase business. Now, if we're McDonald's, that's one thing. I mean, McDonald's can just advertise more. Sure. If they want to increase their business, they ask the question, do you want fries with that?
Right.
If they want them to come back more often, offer salads, offer ice cream, offer breakfast, right? Yeah. But he said, most people are always in one industry, so they can't think outside the box. They have to get creative. And I always remember that. And I think back and I go, I can take some lessons that he taught in this book. Mm-hmm. For example, when we went to a sandals resort as an incentive, mm-hmm. and that's where everything is paid for all at once, right? Mm-hmm. So I took that concept when I came back, and I started a program saying, like, if I'm coming to you and you say you have a copier, but mm-hmm. rather than you buy the copier, you buy the maintenance agreement, you buy the supplies, you finance it, I'm just going to come to you and say, I have an all-inclusive program. You take the copier, I'll charge you a nickel a copy. At the end of the month, I'll read the meter and I'll bill you 5 mm-hmm. cents times how many copies you bought.
Okay. Perfect.
And that skyrocketed our business back in Maine.
Yeah.
I took the same concept and we created these cards, the little envelope. Mm-hmm. That came from the Cracker Jack box. When you open up the Cracker Jack box and you find a little gift in it.
Yeah.
So this is the little gift inside the mailbox.
Yeah.
So I took these things, and to me, it's fun to try to apply different things like that. So
sure.
I have a blast doing it. I met a guy when I was during my 5 years of consulting, mm-hmm. and he had invented a product, and we took it on QVC, mm-hmm. and it was a product that this is what it looks like. Hold on, I'll show you. A little device. This is what it looks like.
Okay.
Any idea what that might be?
No idea.
No idea, right?
No idea.
So this is a product that sits on your desk and holds the cord of a mouse so that when you use the mouse, the cord doesn't get hung up on your desk. All right.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
We took this on QVC.
I like that.
Okay. I've been on QVC 25 times selling this.
Right? I love that.
We sold over 1 million of them on QVC.
Yeah, you did. That's awesome.
So, and this concept of this given little bit, mm-hmm. came from your mother's iron. Remember that they used to have a little cord that kept the cord out of the way?
Yeah.
That's where we stole that idea from.
I love it.
Yeah. So
that is so cool.
To me, business is fun.
Yeah.
If I can look at another industry and what might be as common as dirt in their industry, if I take that same concept and apply it to this business, it could have an effect of an atomic bomb going off.
Yeah. So I reached out to Jay Abraham about being on our podcast.
Oh, did you?
I haven't heard back, but I'm working on him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna find somebody who connects me with him, and we're gonna get him on the podcast.
My son Adam might be able to help you.
Yeah.
Because Adam met him someplace, told him that. When I go on vacation, this is the book I take.
Yeah.
I read this on vacation.
Yeah.
And it's all marked up. And Adam got me another book that's up there that was from Jay Abraham, and he knows, so somehow there's a connection there with Adam. But I got to spend a whole week with Jay Abraham.
Did you really?
He picked this product as one of the top 25 items that it intrigued him about business. And they narrowed it down from like 400 down to 25.
Yeah.
And I got to spend a week with he and Chet Holmes back in the days. Yeah.
That's cool.
So I don't think he'd ever remember me, but I spent a week with him.
That's so cool. That had to have been life-changing.
It was awesome. Yeah.
I love Jay. He looks at common things. That's like a common potential issue, right?
Yeah.
And he's always got a way around. He's always got a way. Like he took on one of my favorite Jay Abraham stories is he took on a gold trading company, and right, and they were struggling. They were having the toughest time, and he literally told him, he goes, "You need to rethink this. You need to look at it this way versus looking at it this way, right?" And it completely changed the way that they did business and skyrocketed their sales. They just went through the roof with it.
Oh, he is so smart that I can only grasp about 10% of his books.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I enjoy him.
So you start the greeting card business. How long have you owned that?
Oh, I actually I'm in it still today. I mean, I offer a customer retention program to the clients, right? And I believe that close to 70% of all our clients stop doing business with you within the first 100 days because how they felt they were treated.
Right.
Now think about that. You lose up to 70% of all your customers within the first 100 days of having them. And so I offer a program to retain those customers. So I'm still in that business, right?
I love it.
I would go around to customers, trying to get this auto dealership to buy, 12 dozen, the one to buy 56 dozen, this one. But to get people to send them out on a regular basis, it's such a hassle. People just don't take the time to do it. Right. So I started a company where I send out cards on behalf of people.
I love it.
Yeah. So that way I know they get out.
Yeah. So they give you a database.
Yeah, that's what they do.
And a schedule, and you just fulfill it.
I take care of everything for them. I don't advertise it. I don't even think you can find it on my website. I do it all by word of mouth now. Yeah. But I have fun with it. So.
I love that. So the copier idea that you came up with, it was per copy.
Yeah, cost per copy we call it.
Yeah. So I used to have that exact plan.
Yeah.
When I owned my real estate office, and I had 3 copiers at one time that were literally just going all the time. And
we were the first people to do it. This is back years ago. And it took my competitors about 2 or 3 years to catch on what we were doing.
Yeah.
We weren't losing business to the paper pirates and the toner pirates that were out there. And it was a great program for us. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I got so tired of dealing with copiers. I got so tired of, and we, in the real estate business, when I had 200 plus agents in my office, and, they were so hard on machines. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. Right. And one of them called me one day and she said, "Hey, the copier at the office is just giving me a fit." Right.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, we don't allow fits. So go stand in the corner. You're in a timeout." And she's literally on the phone with me, Jim, going, "What? What did you just say about the corner?" Right?
Yeah.
It was too funny. I had to repeat myself.
It was a great business. It really was. It was just a wonderful business. And it came during a time period where, the height of my business was when Jeff and Adam were both in college. So it worked out great.
Yeah, man.
I can't believe we've always spoken for about an hour already.
Yeah, I know. It's just flown by. Absolutely flown by. So we're up to today. What are you working on for today?
Oh my goodness. Well, one of the things I met a guy about 5 years ago. He and I were both into the same network marketing company at the time. We were both building our businesses, and my son Jeff had hired him to speak at one of our sales trainings, and Jeff called me and said, "Dad, could you come down just to support the training?" And so Sherry and I drove down, and we sat there, and this guy was really funny. Well, little did I know that he'd been a stand-up comic for 10 years with Jerry Seinfeld and that whole group of comics that came up together. Then for 25 years, he did a routine called Joe Malarkey, America's Worst Motivational Speaker.
Yeah.
And it landed him into the Speakers Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So it's which is less than 2% of all speakers.
Yeah.
So he always wondered, I went up to him afterwards and said, "Hey, if you ever want to work together, I'd love to find a way to work."
Yeah.
And he was doing fine without me, and I was doing okay without him. But about 2 years later, we saw each other at a National Speakers Association meeting, and he's speaking, and I'm in the audience, and he looks at me and he says, "I need to talk to you." And he says, "I can't figure out why I can't do this business, why you can." And he says, "You're part of the 20% that gets it done. I'm part of the 80% that doesn't." He says, "I'm investigating that now, and we're going to put a program together where you talk to the first 3 rows of the audience, I talk to the back row, and we've written 3 books now. We speak in different stages for, it's called, here. Oh, I don't even know where it is. Oh, here it is. Oh, the Consistency Chain for Network Marketing. Yeah. It's a goal-setting strategy that works for people that have a hard time setting a goal.
Yeah.
A different way to measure success. And it's really effective. And I use it every single day in the book. I reach out to 2 people or talk to one. I do it every single day regarding my greeting card business. Yeah. And I'm having a blast.
I love it. That is so cool. I got to come see you.
Yeah. I play golf Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Yeah.
Let me know. I'll put you in the group.
Let's do that. That'd be fun. That'd be a great time.
I live in Wickenburg. And Wickenburg is the roping capital of the United States.
Yeah.
They have six arenas. I've been married to my wife, Sherry, for 53 years.
Oh.
So that has worked out pretty well, too.
Yes, it has.
Been together for 55. So,
there you go.
But we're having a blast.
You're doing
something. I can't wait to get up in the morning. And I hate to get, I can't wait to get up in the morning. Hate to go to bed at night.
Yeah, I can tell. And that's awesome. I love your spirit. I love your heart. I just think you're amazing. And I'm so glad you reached out to me on LinkedIn. And I'm so glad from the bottom of my heart that you were our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This time flew by so fast. Unbelievable. I had such a great time.
It's been my pleasure, believe me.
Thank you again, bud. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out Calendly.com/Rio760.